Welcome to the Man the Fuck Up podcast, hanging out in the man cave. It is officially 2022. KimmyB.
And Lenny.
That's right. Now, before I go any further, Len, it's a new year, new me. I'm going to remind everybody to like, subscribe, follow, share the ManTFup podcast. I was not very good at reminding people to do those things at the beginning of every episode, so we're
getting it now, though.
Yeah.
And if you have any questions, feel free to email them to Kimmy at ManTFupTV.com.
Let me really want
KimmyB, sorry.
Yes,
KimmyB
KimmyB.
at ManTFupTV.com.
Yeah, he would really like for my inbox
Blow her inbox up.
flooded. If you've got
Send her all those interesting emojis.
Ew, no. Send me potential guests, send me topics, if there's people you think we should have on. Len, so speaking of all things ManTFup, we're obviously on Instagram and TikTok. Make sure you follow us there as well. But our Instagram has allowed me to follow some really interesting characters. Because you like to point out when you've cultivated a social media presence, oftentimes you're only made aware of, people, personalities, companies that the algorithm thinks you'd be interested in.
Mm-hmm.
And
compatible with.
Yeah. And so my KimmyB official account is very different than the ManTFup TV account. So some of the recommendations and some of the things that just pop up in our timeline are like next level. And there's an organization or, a network out there called Turning Point USA. And they've got some really, really...
Interesting?
Sure. I already used that word. I was trying to find a different one, but that's
okay.
The best one to use. Interesting...
outlooks?
No. But what are those pundits? Right? Because it's kind of like a news network. So, talking heads, whatever you would like to call folks that do this. And some of their perspectives are just, like I said, are eye-opening. Like some of our guests. Shout out to our girl, Crystal Teeny. But recently, I came across a meme that one of their folks had posted. And it's a guy that a lot of people know. His name is Charlie Kirk. And basically, it was about college here in the good old US of A. And the meme stated that college has been permanently disrupted in our country. Parents are waking up to the financial scam and moral hazard that college is posed to America. The cartel is about to break, and it is a great thing for America. Clearly, Mr. Kirk is not a big fan of higher education. And that's okay, because, to each their own. And I know, Lenny, you feel, you have very personal opinions about education in this country and about higher education and whether or not everybody needs to go to college or needs to aspire to, a college degree.
Yeah, I don't think it's necessary for everyone, but I do think, I think for a lot of kids, it's important as a growing experience. We talked about that. My oldest didn't go to college. We didn't push him to go to college. He wants to do his own thing.
Blue collar entrepreneurial vibes all day. And I don't mean that. And blue collar is a great thing. I come from a super blue collar community in the Northeast, a bunch of fishermen, a lot of welders, people that are in the general contracting field making bank, plumbers, electricians. I am always here for trade schools. In fact, I don't know why that is not more of a viable option.
That's part of what's gone away in America is making stuff.
Like we talked about this, when I was getting ready to go into high school, I lived in a really small kind of like suburb of the bigger city that was close to me. And we didn't have a high school. We had one elementary school. We had one middle school. And then when we were going off to high school, 3 or 4 different local municipalities would come in and kind of, it's like a little like recruitment fair. 2 of them were vocational schools. It was Old Colony, and then there was New Bedford Voc Tech, and then we had New Bedford High, which was just a major, just your regular public high school, but it was a big city high school, and that's where I ended up going. And then Fairhaven High School, which was a smaller town that had its own high school. So if you didn't want to go to a school with 5,000 kids, which New Bedford High had, you could go to Fairhaven High, which was much smaller, but was still going to give you that kind of college prep, curriculum versus a traditional vocational school. But But I feel bad that kids don't get that. And we also had Bristol Aggie, which was like an agricultural high school. That wasn't as, popular. But if you wanted to get into farming, if you wanted to get into, if you knew that your long-term path was, veterinary,
Yeah, I think
medicine.
I think a lot of young kids don't know when they hit high school what they want to do.
No. A lot of kids graduate college and still don't know what they want to do.
And I think a lot of kids don't know all the options that are out there for them. I think, back to this conservative,
Yeah. Charlie Kirk.
Charlie Kirk.
Yeah.
No bad feelings for Charlie Kirk. No. I 100% believe it. But I'm not of the Gary V fan of you don't need college at all. I think
I want my doctors to go to college.
Yeah, that's absolutely. I mean, Gary
I
V's
need
thing
you
is
to be educated.
You don't need college to be successful. 100% true.
Yeah,
that's 100% true.
Bill Gates,
but I mean, like I said, I didn't go to college till I was 30 years old. But the bottom line is, if you're not going to go to college, you should kind of have an idea of what if you're contemplating not going to college to become successful, you really should probably do some kind of self-evaluation to know that you're capable, because not everyone is capable of being a business owner or an entrepreneur or has that energy to do that.
100%. Now, here I think is one of the other kind of facets of this conversation. A lot of people have talked about the watering down of the collegiate experience as something that has led to this place that we're at in 2022. Like over the past probably 3 to 4 decades, we've really pushed the narrative that everybody should go to college. Everybody should have access to college. Whereas, for a very long time, higher education was, I don't want to say elitist, but, we're not that far removed from many people being the first in their family to go on to college.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like I was the first person, well, my aunt went, but she never graduated. So actually I shouldn't say that, but I was definitely the first in my immediate aunt, cousins, whatever, not my second cousins. My family's a little bougie in some ways, but my mom's family, to go to a major university and whatever, and incur that kind of student loan debt. Hey, Sally Mae, how you doing? That I'll be paying off until I'm sure after I'm dead. But whatever.
Just defer it till you're dead. Then you're good.
I keep paying. I'm the only person in America that during this pandemic has still been paying their student loans. I don't know how that worked out, but I'm like, hey, listen, chip away at it. But I think that before the pandemic, we had the big college admissions scandal, which really put a spotlight, especially on our elite universities, right? And on just the discrepancies and the disparities as who has access, and I think it really kind of shed some much needed light on what folks, the everyday folks, are really up against when it comes to accessing that elite level of Ivy League education,
Yeah, but even the elite level, I mean, even now just to get into Gainesville, you have to really step up your game. And I mean, that's based on the student. The student has to be able to, get up to that curriculum. I have a friend, one of my Stanley's nephews.
Who's Stanley?
Stanley from Saturday. Stanley.
Yes.
Stanley's 2 nephews. Genius little kids. One goes to Georgia Tech, and he is, struggling a little at Georgia Tech.
Academically?
Just in general, because, he came from this kind of sheltered thing, and now he's got the college life, and he's flexing his wings a little bit, but he's struggling a little academically. They might even put him on some kind of academic, thing, but he's learning. He's learning. It's part of, that whole thing is part of.
Well, it's responsibility.
Yeah.
It's accountability. It's if there's nobody there to shake you at, 6:30, 7 o'clock and say, get up, you have class in an hour and a half.
And it's funny because Stanley was telling me, he's like, yeah, Georgia Tech doesn't make it easy. They don't have your classes when you want them. They don't have this. I'm like, when you want them, it's like, yeah, it is what it is. I think that's better. I think he's going to be better off than his brother because he's got to, conform to real life versus.
Well, that's like saying, this job sucks. They won't let me come in whenever I want to come in. I want to start at noon.
Charlie,
they want me there at 9. What is that?
Charlie, we need a little more context. A lot of kids are not going to get to that level of college. So people might get disgruntled. Why won't you take my kids? What, there's a lot of factors that lead into, forget about the cost is prohibitive for a lot of people, which, I think, you should be able to get an education in this country
for free. Public universities should be free.
Yes,
that's another part.
That's
I believe that we pay enough in taxes that public universities, which are already getting federal and state funding, should just
Broward Country Club should definitely be
Broward Country Club. You're the worst. You said it, not me.
Whatever. It should be free.
Broward College now, by the way.
Yes, I know.
No longer.
They dropped the C.
Yeah, because they're 4 years now.
Yes,
they're no
I
longer
know.
Just 2 years.
I know. Broward
Art Institute, relax.
Broward College should be free.
Shady bird.
Yeah, whatever.
But no, I mean, I just think what Charlie Kirk was positioning with his meme, as much as it pains me to say I agree to some degree, I think that there needs to be changes in our higher education system, and I think we're starting to see the momentum swing in that direction. Like I said, pre-pandemic we had the college admissions scandal, which had the nation in an uproar, and rightfully so. You have these kids that toil and work really, 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 really hard, to get the grades, to have the extracurriculars, to do well in sports, and they're still just limited by things that are out of their control. Like, a 16-year-old has no control over how wealthy or not their parents are, right? We're born into the families that we're born into, and your parents can be ridiculously supportive, but at the end of the day, when push comes to shove and you're applying at Harvard and Yale and somebody can, shoot an extra $500,000 to the arts department, that usually takes precedent over the kid from Liberty City or Coral Springs that, has two working parents that are out here just trying to provide a good life for their kids. And I was telling our incredible director and, director of photography and everything else, Nestor, I said, I have a theory with that. And I think that if your parents can afford $500,000 to pad the arts department, that $500,000 instead of padding the arts department, let them in. I don't let the legacy kids in, but they should have to pay 2 or 3 times as much to foot the bill for the kids that genuinely deserve to go to those schools but can't afford it.
I think part of the scandal is that they're paying to get these kids admitted to these schools because they couldn't make it to that level.
Of course.
But I mean, if
I'm not mad at that.
If the school said, hey, we will accept your child if you
foot the bill for somebody else.
Yeah, foot the bill. And that's what happens in a lot of these high schools for sports,
But I'm not, and you know what though? And I'm not
it's
mad
fine.
at it because if you've got
it, you're
pay
paying it forward. It's that simple.
So, and that I think is what is outrageous about it. It was all this underhanded backdoor shaking hands and whatever. Instead of just doing it up front, like we have presidents that are legacies. You know what I mean? And the running joke is they were C students, right? Like, and there was no way they were getting in if their father hadn't been the president and a legacy themselves.
Yeah,
lots of them. And to me, own that.
George Bush,
Donald Trump. Like, get out of here, bro. A lot of them. And then you have a Barack Obama who earned his way in, and his wife earned their way in. This isn't a left or right thing. This is just facts.
Yeah.
It is what it is. And those are scholarships and you do what you do to get in. But unfortunately, there's more room for the paying customers than there is for the ones that are going for free. So if the paying customers got extra to pay, let them help some folks out. And now we're equalizing those opportunities because along with an Ivy League education also comes Ivy League opportunity. And that's the other deal there. Saying you have a degree from Harvard opens up, you know what I mean? Like that's just a different
it's the Rolodex
caliber. Yes, honey. And just the professors that you have access to and their connections. So I love that you put it that way because that's factual. It is. It's the Rolodex. But that's college in general. And I think that that's the one thing that we need to talk a little bit more about is that college education is phenomenal, but I think it was best said in Good Will Hunting. I don't know if you've ever seen that movie, but Matt Damon's character is brilliant. And this dude that's, going to MIT or Harvard tries to school him in front of everybody at a bar one night. And he's like, bro, you could have saved yourself $250,000 and, you know, basically in $2.15 in late fees at the Boston Public Library, because Matt Damon knows everything this dude knows and more, and never stepped foot on the Harvard campus or the MIT campus, right? Like, you can read. Education and intelligence are not mutually exclusive. Let's be very clear about that. And that's why Gary Vee says...
Nor are they the same.
No, for sure. But you can be
uber intelligent and be an idiot.
Yeah, not street smart. You can also be very well educated and still be a moron.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So it's one of those things that we need to discuss what exactly college really is in 2022. Now, the one problem that I do have, because my life would be very different if I hadn't gone to the University of Miami. And I don't think a lot of kids understand the magnitude of the decision.
What years?
What? I was there from 98 to 04.
So the later drug years.
No, we weren't the drug years at all. Like, my school, we had a damn near Ivy League acceptance.
It was early.
So I'm trying to be shady. That was the 80s.
Well, that's Miami.
That was your years. If you had gone to the University of Miami,
I went there a few times.
When it was suntan years.
I went there
to
plenty.
make a delivery, I'm sure. Get out of here, Lenny. Don't make me be shady to you. Oh, my God. But my point is, my life would be very different. Like, having the opportunity to get away from the small town that I grew up in. Like I said, I went to a bigger city high school. And again, not a knock on it, but there's just sometimes when you know, like, I'm not meant to. My mother was like, you're leaving. Like, I wasn't going to no UMass nothing. She was like, you're out. And it was either UM or USC, and I chose UM.
Lucky for us.
Yeah. Now it's lucky for us.
Well.
But that was really the people that I met. You know what I mean? Like, the people that I met, the relationships that I made changed the entire direction of what I thought I was going to do with my life. And it had a lot less to do with the education. I majored in everything. People ask me, what you major? I like everything. Started off as international finance and marketing, and then I was international studies. And at the end, it's just all lumped under arts and sciences, because my mom was like, wrap it up, Heifer. Like, do you know how much money this is costing me? You're not on scholarship. Like, no more. Just figure it out. Where do all of your credits fit? They fit, arts and sciences, there you go. That's what your degree will be in. But by that time...
I'm having fun here.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. She loved coming to visit. Don't get it twisted. She loved coming to visit. We were huge supporters of the UM football team. Like, where was the year we went to every game, I think, except for West Virginia, and that was because I was banned from actually going to the West Virginia game. They were like, you don't know how to act right. You will end up in a fight, and we don't have time for that, because West Virginia fans are crazy. So my roommates all literally vetoed me going. They were like, absolutely not.
I went to a game when my son was playing high school in South Carolina, okay? The police, we beat them, and the police had to escort us out because they were, this was a small town in South Carolina, and like Friday Night Lights shit is real up there. That's real shit. And you come into town from South Florida and whip their team, oh, we got a problem here.
Yes. That's like...
These city slickers are getting their ass whooped before they leave here.
Well, that's like going to a soccer game in South America, like, depending on, if you're in
absolutely. Or England.
And you're the visiting team, like...
Manchester United.
But anyway, like I said, like, college was the experience, Lenny, to your point. It was, 4 years to get your life together, to kind of find out a little bit more about yourself. I really took a liberal arts kind of curriculum, so I feel like I'm well-rounded. I took economics classes, I took business law classes, I took psychology classes, stat classes, African American history. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so to me, when you're able to learn from different people, it's like, oh, I love this. This was not my jam. Like, statistics, that's when I knew business was not for me. I was like, yeah, nope, sorry. But that's the beauty of college. Student debt is, of course, a problem, especially when you're coming out. And I had friends. This is not a new thing either. This whole, like, people complaining about not being able to find jobs right out of college and pay off their loans. This has been happening. Like, my friends, when we graduated, after $100,000 in education, were being offered $15,000, to come out entry-level positions. And I came out, and I was interning for free at a radio station, and guess what? Had not one complaint about it. But I understand not everybody can do that. I had a very supportive family, you know what I mean? And that oftentimes predetermines what you can and cannot do,
Absolutely.
or the positions that you can and cannot
there's
take.
benefits to where you come from. There's benefits to it. It's just, it is what it is. But that's a lot of, I strive to give my kids more than I had. And that's what parents do. But there's a lot of people who can't do that. So they feel it's unfair that, why can they do this and I can't do this? It's because it's life. It's history. It's, if your great grandfather went to college and became a doctor, then your parents might have become doctors, and then you would be in that doctor. But that's not what happened. He worked for Ford, which was a great career.
Great.
But then the kids worked for Ford, and then manufacturing in the country went downhill. And, if you didn't step off that and see it coming, you immediately went from a well-off middle-class family to poverty-stricken.
Yeah.
And with no
but
look out there. And then the kids today are stuck with that.
But again, I think it goes back to what you were saying earlier. Again, I'm not, Team Charlie Kirk. And anybody watching this that knows who Charlie Kirk is knows exactly what Charlie Kirk stands for. But I do agree that we need to have the conversation about college. He's demonizing the entire experience, which is what it is. I will say this, though. College enrollment is declining. They look to have like another 500,000 less undergrad students enroll this year. That's like a 3.2% decline or whatever. It was the same thing last year. The pandemic is definitely taking a toll. You also have a lot of kids that are deferring, and they're deferring indefinitely because they're like, they want the experience. It's not about if they're like, I'm going to college, to your point, for that experience, to get away, to live in the dorms, to be on my own, to meet people. Sitting in my high school bedroom taking online courses is not worth, $45,000 a year to me.
Yeah, I think there's a bigger picture to the decline other than just that. I mean, I think this has led to it, social media, that whole thing.
What do you mean by that? Do you mean like people wanting to be influencers, like people no longer wanting academic?
Yeah. Yeah, kids thinking that they can be all that in a bag of chips without, and I think the main problem with it is it doesn't teach you that those people who are on here as influencers making money are working their fucking ass off. That it does not teach them. So, it's like I said before, college is for the experience. It's for the growing experience. Kids need to have that feeling of completing something and doing something, and penalties if you don't do it correctly. And, they don't have that with the social media, and they don't see that, 5 years of the guy just making fucking 20 videos a day before one popped.
Yeah.
They don't see that.
Well, no, I mean, that's true of anybody that works in, because this is entertainment now. Influencers are just, it's a new kind of era of entertainment. And that's like, the running joke with the George Clooney's, or even Flo Rida, who's the guy from right here. He'll tell you, I'm a 10-year overnight success. Or like, George Clooney was literally about to leave Hollywood when he landed his role on ER after putting in 15 years of B and C and D-list movies.
Yes, he was in commercials. He was in all kinds of shit.
X.
But that's the point. You're taking 14, 15, 16, 17-year-olds who are not mentally fully developed, and they're not thinking like normal people yet because they're whatever levels are going up and down like a yo-yo. They can't make those conscious decisions, but they are based on what they're seeing in social media. So there, a lot of kids, if you ask them, depending on the school, if you ask them, what are you going to do when you grow up? Are you going to college? You might get a lot of no's.
I think also, though, part of that, but that's compounded because yes, this is fun and looks easy, but it's also compounded by this narrative of I'm swamped with student debt. I can't get out of this hole. You've got a lot of millennials that are living in this space where you constantly hear this. And now you've got it. Now, even this has been quote unquote politicized, right? Like there's been a line drawn in the sand and folks on one side are screaming that, oh, the student debt, it's just another part of the machine, and it's a big, well, you heard it in the meme, the scam and the whatever and blah, 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 blah. And, it's one of those things where it's like, again, it's about the experience for the most part, but I do believe in education. And like I said, it's one of those things where if you don't know what you want to do, if you don't like, very big difference, like people who are called to trades, being a mechanic, that's a passion, right? Yeah. You have to, like, people in construction don't just like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna go build houses. You like to build shit.
Yeah.
Period.
The other thing is that even to be influencer on Instagram, you need an education
and a business acumen.
Yeah, in what you're going to do. I've struggled with this with someone in my life very close, repeatedly. Like, great, I 100% support you. You need to learn about it. Mm-hmm. Don't just say you're going to do something. You have to learn about it, and that's what people don't tend to see. I mean, the one company that I opened required a brutal state license. Brutal. Mm-hmm. Like, attorneys don't pass this shit. I locked myself in my office for a month and read Florida statutes, which are the most boring, idiotic things you could ever possibly read.
Yes, I can barely get through the voting ballot, so never mind an entire.
But I had to read, 40 pages of Florida statutes. And I had to do it. And, luckily I had the discipline to be able to do it. But that's the disconnect. Besides the cost of college, which definitely, public college.
Free.
Public college. Listen, how about free if you graduate? How about that? How about free if you graduate? Because if you give someone incentive to graduate, they might do it. If you just give them free classes, they're going to take 2 years and drop out.
It's like getting your 0% APR on your credit card. But you can pay off your balance. Right?
Yeah, you got to be able to pay off your balance.
But otherwise,
we're charging you all the back interest.
You're paying all the interest. That you make them payments.
But that is a fair deal.
I like that, actually, because that's an expansion on, because I'm a big proponent of, I do believe that any state-funded, federally funded public university should definitely be free. I think that our lower level education, our elementary schools, our middle schools, our high schools need to up the ante. There shouldn't be these huge disparities between private schools, at that level. Because I also believe that you should, if you want to go to a private university, then that's on you.
That's on you.
That's on you.
That's a different story.
You pay, and I don't want to hear nothing about it.
If you have the ability and the wherewithal to get into or go to college, a state college should be free, but you have to have consequences. You have to be able to complete that program.
Yeah.
Athletes have to do what? 3? They have to do 3 years. They don't have to complete the program. They get, like most football players, come eligible.
They also generate millions and millions of dollars for the university. So.
I understand that. And,
but
some
a lot of them
finish
graduate
after.
or after. I have homeboys that graduated with multiple degrees in 3.5 years because all they have to do, I don't want to say all they have to do is, if they really focus, if they're about their education, it is football and classes.
Yeah.
And they get to take free summer classes. They get to take the free classes over winter break, spring break, if they're there. So I got homeboys that graduated with MBAs in their 4 years.
It's but they're doing something.
Rarity, but yes.
They're earning their degrees, and it should be the same thing. You want free college? No problem. If you don't graduate, you owe us this much money. If you graduate, it's free.
I'm here for that. And then
it should be that with every government subsidized program.
Oh yeah.
Forget about not just school. Every government subsidized program. No problem. We want
unemployment.
We want this country to get better. We want people to get educated and better themselves so that we don't have to support them.
You can just take and take and take. We know, we've learned this. Human nature is just to continue taking, and then when it dries up, okay, I'm on to the next free service.
And that's
accountability, Len. Though, like every time we have these conversations, no matter if there's a guest or not, it always comes back to accountability, and that people just don't have that anymore. You don't want to be disagreed with, and you don't want to be accountable for your actions. And that is just absolutely wild to me. Now, the other part of this conversation has more to do with the ideology of college. Because part of what Charlie was saying there was, how conservative parents are waking up. And this wasn't under this particular tweet, but in another conversation they were having on their social media, there were parents, conservative parents, that were losing their minds, talking about how they had sent their good conservative kids off to college, and they had come back liberals, that they had been morally and ideologically corrupted by these institutions of higher learning. And before you say anything, Lenny, all I can think of is, basically they love to throw around the word propaganda. But propaganda is just any skewed set of ideas.
This is clearly just bad parenting. And I'll tell you why. Because there's plenty of colleges in this country that have a curriculum that's more conservative than others. So if your child, if you're a child of a Mormon in Utah and you tell your parents, I want to go to Berkeley, they're going to be different when they leave Berkeley.
Yeah, but here's the deal. That's their choice, though.
No, I get it.
All you do is
the kids can do it.
Yeah, but this is my point to you. And it goes back to, it's not bad parenting. At the end of the day, every set of ideals is quote unquote propaganda. You've spent 18 years feeding your children your version of the propaganda. They go out and now they're learning somebody else's version, and they're making a choice, because at the end of the day, they have free will and they could choose to continue to hold on to the beliefs that you instilled in them, or they could open their minds and start to take into consideration this other set of beliefs, right? Like, it all boils down to who they are and where they want to fall on the spectrum. So with that being said, stop blaming it on the institutions. And again, it's accountability. Your kids just don't think like you. Sorry.
That goes without saying.
But do you understand? They want to blame it on somebody else. It's got nothing to do with their child just change, because God forbid their kid comes home and no longer agrees with them on politics, right? Yeah. That happens when you're now exposed to a different group of people.
You see it a lot in the religious areas where kids are brought up very religious in a very tight-knit religious community, and then step outside. And they only go two ways. They either come back or they go out. There's no medium. And it's the same thing with anything. If you're raised in the middle of Utah and you move to Southern California, you're going to see things that, now whether you choose to, follow your belief system that you grew up with, or make your own mind up. It's there. It's
God forbid you make your own mind up. But this just makes me laugh. Because when I tell you, these people were going ham they were losing it, and they were just talking about, the beast and the propaganda and the brainwashing. And I'm like, so what do you, I don't understand. So what did you do for 18 years? That now all of a sudden your child is completely done a 180. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, were you being all encompassing with your teachings, or were you teaching a very set and specific group of ideals? Or, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, because here's the deal. If you were giving them a little bit of everything and then saying, but this is why we feel this way, that wouldn't be so mind-blowing and eye-opening when they get to a USC or a Berkeley or a UNC Chapel Hill, you know what I mean? And all of a sudden are exposed to other things.
That's this country is filled with people who are.
But that's why we keep saying, Len, middle of the road, because middle of the road, now you're equipped to really make an educated decision. It's not one extreme or the other.
I want so badly the middle of the road, Kimmy. I want it so badly. I want everybody to get along. I want everybody to, just to turn the other cheek. Why pick a fight, walk away from it? I want that. Is it realistic? Not necessarily. I don't think it's 100% realistic in this country because, middle America and outside of the big cities is still it's a culture shock for people. I mean, you can see it right here at the corner.
You realize there are more people in the big cities than there are in quote unquote middle America. Like that's the whole deal with this. No, literally, if you count up the numbers, Len, there are more people.
Let's just say 2 to 1. Say 2 to 1.
No, it's even. I mean, it's getting.
I don't think
even
it's
less
higher
than that.
than
Like the Dakotas and it's wild. Like
no, I mean 2 to 1. There's 2 times as many people in the cities as there is in the country. In the
when you take into consideration the suburbs, like look at New York. New York State has more people in it than like 10
yes,
states
but New
in the
York
Midwest
State,
combined.
But New York, you can't do that. All you can do is take New York City and the 5 boroughs.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. But that's because
the 5 boroughs. But you can't take the rest of the state because they're different people.
100. But that's what I'm saying to you is that literally New York State, which is not that big, has that many people because of New York City.
Yeah, but New York State is huge.
And also, it is, but so is Montana.
And so is Florida.
So is Wyoming. Yeah, and Florida is also one of the most populous states. But then again, if you look at just Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach counties, you're talking about millions of people.
You're talking
Tampa
about half.
And St. Pete. Again,
Tampa and St. Pete are a totally different animal because Tampa and St. Pete.
They're changing though.
Yeah, but the
about
core Tampa and St. Pete are Bible Belt people, and that's
a lot of people
conservative.
From the Midwest.
Yeah, it's all conservative. So you have this big divide in this country that's being exploited, and it's pulling those people out of the woodwork and putting the people over here up against them. And it's nobody is trying to corrupt your child.
That's my point, and that's what I'm saying is that this is what's scary though. Education was one of those things
that was
that
across the board.
Americans prided themselves on, and we still do have the most incredible higher education in the world. People come from all the most elite students, the brightest minds from all over the world come to this country to get educated at.
But that's at this level. That's at this level.
But even our state schools are incredible. UF is an incredible school.
Yes.
Florida State, an incredible school.
Yes, the college level.
No.
It's
that's what we're talking about right now, Lenny. That's what we're not getting. Don't do it. We have a guest coming in a little bit. My point is, we're not. No. That's a whole other conversation that we will definitely have about elementary, middle, high school.
The colleges should be.
But you have
if your child wants to go outside of his comfort zone to a college, don't blame the college for your child changing. He's evolving.
100%. And that's what I'm saying is that now, but this is and this to your point is what scares me, is that now this thing that, like you said, we could all agree on as being an elevator, something great, aspirational, is now being vilified and demonized. And it's scary because again, it's a large chunk. This isn't a small, this organization that I pulled this meme from has a lot of people and has a lot of power. And I can't speak, like I said, on Charlie Kirk's level of education. And again, I'm not mad because I don't think that college has to be for everybody. Like we need to, the narrative needs to change for sure. We're a blue collar people. Let's be very clear. This country is built on the backs of blue-collar, working-class Americans, period. And where we lost that is really where we need to go back to and start again. Because blue-collar is evolving. I believe blue-collar is tech. We have all of these changes happening. We need people to support these systems. We need people
we need to make stuff in this country again, which is...
For sure. But you also have to be willing to pay more for it.
Yeah, or people have to be willing to work for a little less. There's a lot of
everything needs to change.
Yes, there's a lot of change. I mean, the way the auto industry was structured in the 50s.
Well, labor union.
It was ridiculous. You can't afford to
make $70 an hour to pull a lever
and pay them for the rest of their life. Let's say
that's the kind of money. Like, let's be clear here. Like, because again, the town that I came from,
and this is in the 80s.
No,
this is 70s, 60s.
Golf. That's one of. Well, first of all, the Northeast is manufacturing all day, or was. Titleist was probably one of the last big ones left, and people would graduate high school and fight for those jobs.
My aunt and uncle worked for GE for 100 years.
And probably had stocks and
they had everything. They had, they had all this stuff, but that's not sustainable.
No.
It's the same thing with the firefighters now. Firefighters that retired 10 years ago got benefits packages that they get, like 70 or 80% of their salary for the rest of their life. And the ones now are talking about 10 or 15% of their salary, and they have to pay in if they want more. So it's, these are the things that just, they clearly weren't sustainable, but they used them to get them into these industries.
For sure. But I mean, but people have wanted to be, cops and firefighters since the beginning of America. You know what I'm saying? It's just, that was one of the, and it was also, again, it was a sign of your acclimation to this country as your group started to get into those industries, right? Like, you have the white Anglo-Americans that were the first ones, and then you have the Irish and the Italians, and then you end up with the African-American. Like, you can see it. It's literally, it's like sports in this country. Like, it's amazing how you can see the evolution of, certain groups of people in this country through different, career paths or different industries. But again, when we go back to college and just education as a whole, I don't want us to lose that. So whatever we need to do to reframe the narrative where we once again put importance, it's reading in this country. And it's, again, spending that time with your children to instill in them that love for that. That's a whole other conversation that we can have about kids saying books are too, like, wild shit, Len. Like, I can't wait to send you this article.
Yeah.
But college to me is, again, it's
my kids don't carry books, and they haven't in a long time. And my daughter reads, and they have to read books.
Does she read everything like on a Kindle or like an e-reader on her phone?
Yeah, they're all on computers.
I'm old.
Every textbook is on the computer. But she has to read, Catcher in the Rye, stuff like that. She's had to read all that.
Classics, yeah.
Yeah, and which is fine, but they don't carry books to school. They carry a computer.
Yeah.
And that is where we're
going. What's going to happen to libraries? And I'm not even talking about the ones that you go to. I'm talking about in homes. Like, I'm sorry, but that's one of my favorite parts of, like, a bougie-ass big old mansion is seeing that incredible, leather wingback chairs and the
You didn't walk in my house, huh? Oh.
Do you have a library?
I have.
Does it have real books?
I have an entire wall. I have 7 bookcases the size of the...
Love it.
Like where the clothes are?
And they're all on
where the T-shirts are?
Shit.
Yeah, you know where the T-shirts are?
Yeah.
I have that whole 7 of those.
Sorry, guys. We'll do it behind
down a whole wall.
The ManTFup office, and then you'll know what we're talking about.
Yes, I have a whole.
Books.
I have a whole wall of bookcases.
I love it. Do they have books in them?
Yes, they do.
Full.
That's me. Every cabinet.
I'm like literally. I'm in the process. Like
now, most of them are educational.
Yeah.
I'm not a. You're not
like a fiction.
I'm not a story reader.
Okay.
I'm not a story guy.
You like historical books.
I have a whole section on Egypt. I have a whole section on and that's the kind of stuff where I've educated myself on.
But that's the point, is that, again, education, intelligence, 2 different things. College educations are accessible to people who don't have the money. You just have to know your way around a library, and have to. And
not the degree, but the intelligence.
Not everything you read on Google is, you know what I mean. Like, find legitimate sources, but you can educate yourself. However, that experience, that time away from home, that time on your own, that time to find yourself as a young person, because at 18, who the fuck really knows what they want to do with their life? Like I said, unless you have a passion for a trade, or you just know. Some people do. Some people know, I'm going to be an actor, I'm going to be a musician, I'm going to be a mechanic. Some people know. But for the majority of us out here, we need to find our passion. And really the best way to do that is to immerse yourself, in a new experience, and to get professors that you hate and get professors that you love, and have somebody pique your interest on something that you had never even thought.
Yes. Don't just seek out people you agree with. You will not learn anything from them.
No, but that's the beauty of going away. Like, so to your point with these parents, that's a part of life and growing and education and evolving, is getting away from the narrative that you've been fed your whole life. So yes, you've done your job as a parent. If you send your child away to college and they come back questioning things, like, that's what they're supposed to do. Like, that's true free thinking, right? Coming back and just regurgitating to you the same things they've heard their whole entire life, without being able to say, now don't get me wrong, somebody tried to change this, but when I thought about it, I was like, nah, I'm good. Well, that's different. But
these are the same people that when their kids go home and go, hey, did you know there's different kinds of mayonnaise than Miracle Whip? You know,
Boy, you are the worst ever.
They're losing it. They're losing it. Who told you that? You know, they're losing it. It's the same thing. It's education college is one of those things that they're picking on, but these people don't want anything to change. They have their narrative from their small town and their religion or whatever it may be that their narrative is, they have. And they don't want anyone to interfere with any part of that narrative. And college is just another outlet that they're going after for that.
Yeah. I just feel like we need to go back to that place where we discuss all the options. Like, you know, again, following a trade, blue collar, making things, take the gap year. Sometimes you might want to work, get some real world experience, and then decide if you want to go and further your education, right? Do you need higher education for everything? Absolutely not. Like, I now get paid to do something I definitely did not go to school for. Like, of all the things I majored in at the University of Miami, communications was not one of them. Like, so the irony in that is just hysterical that I'm paying Sally Mae for a degree that I definitely, actually, but I do use it. And I do use it because we can sit here and have this conversation because I took 700 classes on nothing. You know what I mean? And because I love to read books and I can appreciate what my college education provided me, the relationships, again, the memories, the
growth.
The growth. No, and also and understanding what I wasn't good at.
About responsibility.
Yeah.
That's a huge part of it. I mean, well, how did you feel when you got a C on your exam?
Terrible. But I was like, I'm a procrastinator. So like we can have a whole conversation about that too. But no, but it's different. Or that first professor that doesn't let you get away with it. Like shout out to Dr. Spivey. I wrote an incredible end of semester term paper, 25 pages long on education and America, actually. And he was like, it was great. And it would have been an A, but you turned it in a day late. So it's an F. There wasn't no docking of a grade. He was like, it's an F. He's like, it was fantastic, but it's an F. And I was like, I thought I could talk about,
nope.
It's an F. I was like, what? Word? What?
Yeah, welcome to the real world.
No, and that's facts. So that's, you know, like, and again, and the thing is, when you have that moment, you learn when you're in your job, when you're wrong, you're wrong. The man said, if you don't turn it in on time, I'm not taking him late. Like, he said that day one of the class.
Listen, he at least gave you the respect of reading it.
Yeah.
Which, you know.
Yeah, no, because he definitely did not have to do that. He could have been like,
yes. Yeah, he could have took it and dropped it right in the can.
Yes.
File that in the round dumps in the round file cabinet.
But to me, he's the one professor that I actually remember. And I have his books, and he's incredible. And like I said, if you're at the University of Miami, definitely sign up for Dr. Spivey's classes. I hope he's still alive, because that'd be really embarrassing if he isn't, or if he's still there. And
you might want to check first,
because I'm old. It's been a minute since I was at the U. But no, I just, again, understand that as parents, the opportunity you're providing your children with, you know, beyond education, beyond academics, is absolutely incredible, necessary, maybe not. You know what I mean? So is it worth going into thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars worth of debt until we figure out this system? You know, no, unless your kid wants to be a doctor. You know what I mean? And you know that they're going to do it. That's different.
If your kid knows what he wants to do, support him.
Yeah.
Whatever it takes.
I love that.
It's that simple. If they don't, encourage them to experiment with things they might.
Also, you can, again, no joke, first 2 years, this is just a little, you know, this is Cliff Notes, do them at a community college.
Yep.
I don't want to call it a lesser establishment, but at a cheaper version of whatever, because those courses are the same everywhere.
Yep.
And they cost you a fraction of the price. They also boost your GPA.
English 1 is English 1.
Everywhere.
Doesn't matter if you're at Harvard or Broward Country Club.
It does not.
All
facts,
the same.
Facts. So, and it's actually usually easier to get in as a transfer, you know, sophomore, junior year.
They see you with a 2-year. They're
and they know you're committed. At that point, if you've made it through the 2, you've got a good GPA, they're more willing, you know, you're a little bit more mature. But yeah, I just think that it's the conversation that needs to continue, but we cannot, you know, lose sight of the fact that education has always been one of those fundamental things in this country that we prided ourselves on. And that was something that parents aspired to be able to provide for their kids. And it scares me, you know what I mean? Because education does promote free thinking, whatever that looks like. You know what I'm saying? It's different perspectives, because if all you ever do is surround yourself with the same narrative and the same four-city block, like that's all you will ever know. And that is not how we grow and evolve.
No, not as a country.
Free public universities. Len, look at this, Len. We did all right today. I'm not mad at that. So again, I think we'll have a lot of education conversations. I think it'd be very cool to get some people in here that are experts in this.
Free public universities if you
graduate.
graduate.
I love that. I absolutely love that theory, Lenny. And again, 2024 is right around the corner.
If you don't graduate, don't waste my money.
Don't run on anything else but that. Just run on that, Len.
I told you.
If you're running, just run on that.
That's it.
No, your other stuff is...
Listen, it's education. It's
just
complete
run
education.
On an education platform, public universities.
That's it.
Free with the contingency that you actually graduate. Can I ask you a question? Would we even do masters, like postgraduate degrees, free too?
Why wouldn't you?
Would you do it maybe with a GPA requirement though?
Listen,
if you graduate with a certain, you know what I mean, then we'll give you free.
What do you call a med student that graduates with a D?
Not a doctor.
Oh, a doctor.
Really? So you're okay with that?
He's a doctor. Listen, grade.
I don't know.
I won't judge.
If you're getting it for free, if you paid for it, cool.
I won't judge. I won't judge on grades. You have to pass. If you can do the work.
Pass fail guy?
It's absolutely because there's a lot of kids who don't test as well as others, but are brilliant.
See, no,
so that changes your grade.
No, but that's not pass fail though. Like I feel that you should be able to take an oral exam. Like if you don't write well, but you can regurgitate, because some people are like that. I think that you should have that option provided to you. Like,
and now you're getting a little bougie. I think you should have to write.
No, but pass. Okay, but see,
pass
fail is bullshit, because there's a big difference between being a 4.0 caliber student and being a 1.7 caliber student, which is still passing. Like, no, that's different. Like, but I think that we should do a better job of finding giving students the best way to excel.
I would like to see a study on doctors and lawyers.
Two very different things.
I'd like to
doctors don't have to diagnose.
I'd like to see the statistics on
lawyers are tough
on grades versus top-notch people, because I know some attorneys that probably didn't do great in school, but they're fucking great attorneys.
Attorneys are different than doctors, Lenny. Totally different.
I don't know.
And Lenny, a person who orates for a living.
First of all, school does not teach a doctor to be a doctor.
No, but surgeons are like that's a gift that they have. Doctors go different directions.
But there could be a
a
C student surgeon who becomes the top surgeon anywhere. Because it's the skill.
No, you're not. I would love to have a doctor. I'll take that from a doctor that comes in here.
I'll have to call my doctor.
And his surgeon, your doctor, is he a surgeon?
Yeah, Dr. Uribe. He did my shoulder.
I know Dr. Uribe because he's done a lot more than Lenny's shoulder. He was the foremost orthopedist for the University of Miami.
He still is.
No.
He's Baptist now. But.
Yeah, but I mean, no, but I don't know that he was like
did my surgery 6 months ago.
Okay, my man, just because he did your surgery doesn't mean he's the go-to guy for elite
He did
athletes.
Quincy's knee. Not even a year ago. He's still the go-to guy. He's still the go-to guy.
But no, he was the only, for a while.
Yes, his partner does a lot now, but he's still...
Beyond that, there's guys on the west coast of Florida, there's a ton. Okay. But yes.
But I'll have to ask him
fantastic.
how he graduated.
I'm sure Dr. Uribe graduated top of his fucking class.
I don't know.
Lenny, I know you would love the underachievers, like the academic underachievers that excel in the field. I know you love that because it feels very personal to you.
Hey, this is my 2024 campaign.
Yeah,
I dropped out of school in 7th grade.
I know, but I'm
saying, it's that simple.
No offense, Uribe was probably like summa cum laude.
I can literally find out.
I
in
would
5
just
minutes.
text him. Just don't call him. Just shoot him a text.
I can find out.
Because I could take a page out of your book and just be super stereotypical. I mean, he's Indian. I'm sure he's brilliant, and they don't underachieve at all in academics.
Yeah,
at all.
Surgeons,
their parents don't allow them.
Surgeons are next level doctors because surgery is learned by experience, and And, it's a skill.
Yeah, but the problem is like those people that get those opportunities are the ones who perform. Like you don't get to be bottom of the barrel and even get a surgical residency. Like that's not how the medical field works.
Yeah,
like, you gotta be top of the
you have to be up there to get that.
Top of the class to get the top tier residencies. Otherwise, you end up, I don't even know what you end up doing.
I feel you.
So, I bet you Uribe is.
Maybe.
Uribe's Uribe. That was a terrible example to use, Lenny.
He's a great doctor.
He's incredible. Incredible. Lawyers, I think you're gonna have a better argument in the law space for sure.
Yeah, maybe.
Like
I don't know. I know. If you go to doctors and research doctors and stuff like that, people who aren't necessarily practicing like Uribe, I would bet there's probably some who are brilliant and didn't do great in school.
Yeah.
There's just it's just
look
said,
at the tech guys.
a C is a C. Passing is passing.
No, stop it. That's underachieving, though. Because if you can get a C, you can get a B. If you can get a B, you can get an A.
Yes, you're
C's
right.
Are just underachieving.
But listen, if you get a C, your education is free. If you graduate with a C, your education is free. Don't listen to Kimmy. If you go to school and pass, we'll pay for your college.
No, that's fine. You'll pay for college. I'm here with that. I'm talking about postgraduate stuff.
Oh, postgraduate stuff. That's up to you.
But that's but what I'm saying is at that point, if you have a certain GPA, if you're top of the class after your free education, maybe we'll foot the bill for medical school or law school too. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, yeah.
So just
if
having
you want,
a little bit.
Yeah, if you want postgraduate school, then maybe you need a B average.
Okay. That's all I was saying.
I got you.
That's all I was saying.
I got you. But I'd hate to hold somebody back.
Okay, well, you know what?
How about C average?
Do some extra credit. Listen,
extra credit.
Get
there you go.
a B. If you can get a C, you can definitely get a B.
I don't know.
Yes, you can. Nestor's putting times on the wall.
Yes.
Listen, don't forget.
All right, Nestor, we hear you.
Conversation about college. Again, don't forget to like, subscribe, follow. Most importantly, please share. Share. Tag your friends. Tell your friends. Again, we are everywhere. We're on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. We're on Apple, Spotify, Google, Buzzsprout, Pandora, YouTube. When they're not blocking our videos. That's a conversation for another time.
And ManTFupTV.com.
Hello, you can find, can't be blocked there.
Nope.
We ain't blocking shit. All right, so yes, like, subscribe, follow, share the ManTFup podcast. We will be back next week with another episode.
And don't forget to email your questions and concerns and anything else you might want to say to KimmyB at ManTFupTV.com.